season, who are the Paradise team now, finished 7th and 8th alongside London Esports. And, with the history out of the way, Spooks, and the players and teams both in the lobby and begun the game, first game of potential 5. We're expecting 5 in this upper final, Spooks. Early shot across the bow from Paradise, and you don't really expect much less. A shot initially in the first 10 seconds of Premier game to be expected, but the fact that it was saved, keeping things close.
Well, the problem point we saw for Paradise in their first series was that game 1 went to overtime. It was so incredibly close and neither team could really get that goal. We could see something similar go on in here, happen in this. And as you are already talking about the history, these two teams have history, these players have history, they know each other from the ins and outs. It could benefit both these teams, it could also just not help you at all. But it is Rexo continuing the pressure for Paradise. Can AGB get it into the middle? He does. Creamy taking it slow. Back pass to Rexo. The shot is on target. And that is the opener you need to have for Paradise.
With that level of understanding, you would have thought maybe it's just going to be close one-goal games throughout the entire series, as it has started. The bleed for Dustsucker to deal with a great passing play. Creamy to pick out Rexo there. The communication was clear. Finding that far post, but lack of communication on kickoff has allowed Dustsucker to get straight back into it, essentially a 0-0. Edgeby and Zambo, they link up in that kickoff tempo just that slightly bit quicker on the cheat. Managed to get it past the second man and back to a tie game. Simple as that.
I always complimented, I did it in the last series as well, Paradise for their kickoffs. They have insane strategies on that. They know exactly what they need to do, especially Creamy in that regard. As Dansko with the solo play, setting up Zemburg, let alone the kickoffs. This flip reset, the patience on this, beautifully done.
It's just non-stop, and there's really nothing that Rexo can do there. He has to respect Dansko's ability in the aerial game. Zamburg just over his shoulder, lurking like a shark, waiting for that opportunity, finds it, and suddenly they have a lead. 2 goals in rapid succession, both essentially off of kickoff, and something that's rare, you'd think would be rare to see in the Premier tier. You'd think kickoffs is something they'd have down by now, but almost 3 goals for Dustsucker, as that one just goes narrowly past the woodwork from Zamburg. A decent effort, but not enough to challenge the Paradise defense as they attempt to go back on offense themselves. A decent counter-attack, just slowed down by Zamburg in the corner. Dived upon by Tempo is Edgeby here. He manages to keep it through the midfield line, but then Dansko with a decent enough aerial to get it back across and in the blue half of the field.
A good clear coming out from Rexo, but Dansko takes it easy. But Zero Boost, you ain't gonna get too far, but you do get a bit further when the enemy misses the ball. Misses it completely. Creamy trying to take it slow, but Tempo read that perfectly. Ball comes down to Rexo. But again, a whiff coming out, a bit of inconsistency on the end of Paradise. Not looking too solidified right now as Dansko once again trying to set up his team. Not much this time around, but it is looking good for Dustsucker. They're looking better than I probably would have expected. AGB with the demo means that Creamy has some time on his hands, but still, just nothing really coming out.
And from what we know of this Dustsucker team, based on the stats we saw, not really wants to rest on their laurels to play that time management, as this one goes straight past Dansko, not in position, gets the demo. Zamburg just about back in time off of a demolition of his own to save that one, but eventually they find their way through, denied by the woodwork twice, 3 times in a row, as Paradise cannot equalize, and Dustsucker thank their lucky stars.
Oh, the bump didn't help, the post didn't help, everything went against Paradise, and this one gets saved by Dansko once again. It's AGB to the side, Tempo can't get a good touch out of it. Rexo makes everything calm down a tiny bit. Tempo still trying his best to get the ball forward, get it in front of the net, but no dangerous shot coming out. 2 people were in front of it anyway, as AGB takes it forward. Creamy under control. Takes it patiently though, and Zemburg reads that perfectly. Now Rexo, once again, you know he can be dangerous, he can be lethal, but the control not there. AGB going high, looking for the pass once again, maybe straight down. Dansko gets it past Creamy, and once again Paradise a bit messy.
But they're clearly creating the chances. That's the positive aspect to this, the silver lining of the fact they haven't managed to get an equalizer. They're getting in dangerous enough positions, and that they seem creative enough on offense to tempt Dustsucker out and to make them think about some of these shots coming through, but they've got plenty of offense of their own. Zambo to try to get the aerial through, Rexo to use all of his boost to deny it. Creamy picks it up, back through the corner. Dansku's so awkward, but Edgeby can only pitch it to the ceiling. Edgeby's there to get the disruption, maybe, but Rexo didn't want to commit anyway. Creamy with a decent 50 to keep it in this red half, but again, Dustsucker get away with a chance from Paradise, and they're having to leave a lot of space here at the Paradise side to get these chances through and send multiple players into that offensive push. Thankfully for their sake, they haven't gone to a 2-0 deficit. They'll make it nigh impossible with 30 seconds left to come back into game one, but they still hang on here.
HEB hitting it forward once again, tempo. Just trying to waste time right now as Sandberg, a good shot on target. Creamy takes control, gets it past, but Dansku still blocking it off, keeping this ball a bit stuck in the blue half, and it just makes sure that the time keeps on ticking away, keeps on ticking down, and still nothing out of Paradise, no answer to going down. Creamy finally under control, weak pass forward, easily intercepted by Dansku. Ball still up, but no boost to his name. Sandberg hitting it down, looking for an easy goal. Tempo to finish it off, 3-1 in favor of Dustsucker, but I think this one would have ended with a 2-1 as well.
Yeah, probably. That was really just the salt in the wound. It was written on the wall that that Dustsucker were going to take it, whether it was with one goal or two in the positive. It didn't really matter. It was all predicated on that one pass from Creamy out of defense, weak, lackluster, and it allowed that interception to come through, and then eventually just the cream on the top of the cake, essentially, or the strawberry on top of the cake, whatever you want to call it, the cherry. I keep naming other things than the right thing. Spooks, but the right thing right now for Dustsucker is the fact that they've taken game one of a best-of-5 series and done it in a fashion that really, I think a lot of people were expecting Paradise to come out with more here. Sure, they had time on offense, they had shots, but Dustsucker had an answer to nigh everything, and they only had to make 3 saves, realistically. So I'm surprised that Paradise didn't do more here.
I think it's just a bit of a lack of accuracy. I think we saw it with Paradise hitting the crossbar, the post, the other post, and the ball then at that moment. Accuracy was not in their favor this time around. Maybe it changes as we head on into game number 2. Of course, on Forbidden Temple, high in the mountains. Let's see if Paradise can get themselves on at that high as well. Again, get themselves on that sweeping form that they did in Series 1.
You would have to say that this is home territory for Paradise, the Sanctuary franchise, Forbidden Temple. Beautiful map, beautiful place for you to take a second game in this series for Dustsucker as they start off here 5 seconds in. Another kickoff woe from Paradise. Get a decent touch from Rexo, but immediately accosted by Zamberg, and you just cannot hope to stop that shot from Tempo. He just sits there and watches as it goes flying in. That Dominus gets plenty of power behind it, and plenty of reason to think Dustsucker could take game 1, but it's still very early doors, and we saw how quickly fortunes shifted for Dustsucker in the first game. Paradise thought they had the momentum and then got completely pushed aside, so we'll have to see if they can do the same to their Ox Gaming opponents here.
If this is Paradise's home ground, then what is Dustsucker's home ground?
Wasteland?
Yeah.
I don't think... Do we play Wasteland?
Fair.
I'm not sure if it's in the rotation.
We don't.
That'd be the
It's not in
closest,
rotation.
though.
But I think that's fair. I think that's a good name to shout. But what is also a good name to shout is Creamy.
Oh, this is a
gets
good...
the ball in front. And AGB.
No.
Easy as possible. But do you want to talk about the defense right there, or should we just leave it be?
I'm not sure what to say, to be honest, if I was to talk about it. Paradise, happy to take it. Plenty of This Is Rocket Leagues in the team chat, as you can imagine. But it's just, like I said, fortunes flip instantaneously. You never know when a mistake like that is going to come out. Zambo did his best to get it off the backboard, but he just mistimed it. Simple as that. Awkward as you can expect for a Premier team to have to deal with. And Edgeby will be glad to get that equaliser on. To leave this one for Creamy as well. Rexo was there, but even a rapid shot such as that cannot get past Dansku, and continuous play here has led to it being such a tight affair again, and I'm expecting it to continue to be that way throughout the series. We'll have to see whether or not the Forbidden Temple is enough for Paradise to take game 2.
As the ball gets hit away by Sandberg, relieves a bit of the pressure that was being put on by them, by Paradise. Paradise looking like the stronger team so far in this game number 2. Can they finish it off with a nice goal? No, they can't. And you have to be careful. Rexo's quick enough back. Gets the save, but has to be careful with Semberg. Shot on target. Still saved by Rexo, keeping this team at least tied up. But you can see, you said it yourself, how quick the tides change, really. It goes from, oh, we have Paradise stuck in offense, to, oh no, now you're stuck in defense.
And that, I mean, that's just the nature of the Rocket League game, the back and forth. The ball spends the least amount of time in that midfield area. It's in the final third of either the red or the blue side as a flick on from, I believe that was Zamberg. Narrowly glances by. Another counter-attack. Should just about be cut out by Dansku. Still back to the midfield. Edgeby waiting for it. A weak shot is sent away by Zamberg. All that Creamy can do is put it back to the midfield. For Dusso got to pick up. Now Dansku not quite up the ceiling. Not in a boost to do much more with it either. And it has become a bit more of a back and forth pitched battle right now. Some sort of attrition-based gameplay right now from both sides, just waiting for that weak point to appear rather than forcing things and risk going down again. So you know it's based on what's going on so far, Paradise have made the worst of things when they've been in the deficit. They haven't been able to break down Dustsucker, so maybe realizing if they go down, they will really struggle to get this one back. So biding their time, waiting for that golden opportunity to present itself as a great passive field, once again denied by Dustsucker, and they're just so good at keeping control of that front portion of their net.
Like so. Taking control, looking to get it into the middle, but Zamberg blocking it easily off, no problem for him at all. Zamberg still with the control, looking for maybe a good offensive push coming out from himself. Beautiful pass down the middle. Almost working out, but Rexo still blocking it off. Zamberg hits it to the side. Dansku now hitting it straight on down. Creamy can get to it. Luckily enough for him, he needs to be careful though, because it really is starting to feel like just one small wrong movement right now for Paradise, and they will get a goal against them.
Yeah, and almost every time I've been switched to a Paradise player by the director cam, they've been on less than like 50, 60 boosts, something like that, and they're being forced to make these low boost plays, only just getting to the ball with their aerials, and Edgeby doesn't even make it to that one. Dansku not expecting the whiff, well, can put it to the corner. Creamy flies past this ball unnecessarily. Zambo with a passing option decides to go for the shot and the disruption play instead, but it's high and way too far off the net. Still pressure coming through for Dustsucker. Paradise do break out though. Creamy with a great touch across, not much boost, gets the 50, back to the corner, and once again losing possession. This boomer ball is not working out in favor of Paradise right now, but they still have the tie game. All they need to play for maybe is OT if that's what they're looking at, but still trying to get it back up the field. Tempo to miss. Edgeby with a shot, and Dansku is the one to put it further into the net. Post and in. This time, the woodwork works for Paradise, and that's just so unfortunate. Well, not two own goals necessarily, but two goals that were sort of caused by Dustsucker's touches, and they find themselves in a deadly position here towards the end of game 2.
You really are starting to maybe think that, hey, maybe it is karma coming back to Paradise, being like, okay, yeah, you know that last one? Yeah, that probably should have gone in, and it's, oh my goodness, Rexo. A beautiful double tap, straight from kickoff. I mean, with the flip reset, a bit of flair, getting a past Zamberg, easily done for him.
Yeah, the flare was possible just because, well, you could call it lackluster defense, whatever you want. It was sorted off a kickoff. And someone went for the squishy save. Didn't quite work out, but we see the same scoreline as game 1, just in the opposite favor. This time Paradise, as it's called out at the beginning, maybe Forbidden Temple was their home ground, that home field advantage. Dustsucker trying to put the 4th in, but it won't work out. We see the same scoreline, but for a different team. And a tie series once again. I was thinking maybe this one might go to OT, but just that little bit of consistency on defense from Dustsucker and that control of the midfield especially started to break down as they maybe saw their opportunity to break out. Thinking Paradise were a bit fatigued from all that pressure they put on them, but Paradise fought back, and we back to a tie series, and I'm excited for it. I love these close games in Premier.
I mean, it's a bit of a different approach, actually the same approach, but then on the other end. In game 1, we saw Dustsucker making it a 3-1 near the end, just getting the final goal, and here we see a similar thing happening. Paradise getting the 3-1 near the end. It's a bit of a a different side of the same coin, so to say. But is this gonna continue? Are we just gonna see non-stop through that it's just gonna be one or two deciding factors and that's it? That depends on that just makes or breaks your entire game. One mistake or two mistakes, you're done.
I mean, that's generally what you see at the higher level. The better these players are, the less mistakes they make, and usually the lower score lines. And it's just so much harder for you to break down a defense that is so much more consistent, understands what you're capable of doing, and is able to stop it more often than not. You know, 9 times out of 10, they stop an aerial, they stop some miraculous mechanical play because they know how to do it and they know how to stop it. So you have to then play the deception card and you have to get disruptive and demoing, but it's such a fine balance between that offense and that defense. As you said, if you make that one slight miscalculation, you've exposed yourself to a 2v1 or a 1v1, in which case really it favors the attacker because they're the ones in control. The defender has to be reactive rather than proactive. So we see more of those situations, especially for Paradise. They get to flex their creative muscles. We saw it, Rexo did it at the end of the game. And in the difference in that one between the first and second was that Dustsucker actually had a little bit of time to try and get back into it, but Paradise didn't. So the fact that Paradise were able to do it quicker, more cleanly, should we say, then we'll have to see if they've woken up by this point. Was game one just a warm-up? We'll have to see if they can continue that form.
HV heading into the side, looking for some control with Rexon, looking to take it a bit easier. A bit of a calmer opening so far, no real pressure coming out from either of these two teams, just a bit of hitting and seeing what you can create. Nothing really sustainable so far as Creamy leaves it alone for Rexo. Really got called off from it as well. Rexo with a beautiful pass into the middle, trying to start up the offense once again. And it's quite clear that for Paradise, it really depends a lot on Rexo. He has been the driving force for their offense this entire series so far.
Speaking of the man, he goes up here with a bit of boost, fakes out too. They both commit. Thankfully, Zamberg was in the position with the boost to deny any follow-up. Edgeby, though, to get the 50 over another Creamy backboard, trying to go for the double, fakes it out instead. And the man you called out, Spooks, the potential MVP of this Paradise roster, should they go on to win the series. Rexo with a fantastic follow-up, that third man play, just always being right there waiting and adapting to what's going to happen. He didn't know if that was going to be a double tap. Maybe Creamy called it out. We won't know and we'll never know, but all that matters is that Rexo gets the first one on the board for Paradise. Great start.
And that's what I meant at the start as well, before we even started this series, that Paradise, when they want to and when they really are trying their best, this is a team that can beat a lot of the bubble scene. But you have to be careful with things like this. It goes the other way, and it can be just as painful for you. Dunsku with a beautiful 50, but you feel like this was a bit unnecessary.
Yeah, that's the thing about a bubble though, Spooks. It can very easily pop. You apply the right pressure, you put a pin in it, as Dustsucker did there. You get counted on so quickly, and a little bit of fortune that it went on target. It nearly didn't. Rexo trying his damnedest to get back to it. But once again, a tie game, just the same thing happening between these two teams. There's no continued control or domination of the series. Just a testament to how strong both sides are. The ability to build momentum and foster confidence within yourself, but they're getting exposed time and again. Thankfully, they're just getting away with it for the most part. You have to say, if Paradise maybe a little bit more, shooting accuracy, but the chances that they create, they'd be able to do so much more. Dustsucker have had one shot, one goal, that's all. So Paradise clearly the ones in control of this game and have got all the pressure. Now they just need to continue to push forward, not make the mistakes that they have in the past. There's a big triple commit from Dustsucker, did open up space, but they didn't want to commit. So you've got to say they're playing a little bit more passively than most, I think, expected.
Maybe they are a bit, but they're probably trying to look for these types of moments. These are the types of moments you will look forward to, and it does feel like Dustsucker is looking more for those types of mistakes when they see Paradise maybe cheat up a bit too far as third man, not in the right position, not in the right space. It is then when they really are trying to punish, and I mean, we know what happened last time a 2-1 happened in favor of either of these two teams. Are we gonna see it again?
Much sooner, you gotta say. With 2 minutes left to go. Yeah, we saw it for a long time for Dustsucker in the first game, and then they got that third goal as just a parting gift. But that's something that, I mean, Paradise obviously seem to be struggling with that counter-attack. If Dustsucker can shoot and score from their own half, they don't even need to leave the red side of the field to get a goal. And there's really something wrong with the Paradise rotation. They're overextending. And Dustsucker are happy to play it out, a 1-2 pass, and it's a simple goal. There's a few ways that you can deal with that high pressure that Paradise are putting on. And it's been the most effective for Dustsucker to just wait, bide your time, save your boost. They're not putting too much dangerous stuff in front of us, although we've seen a few double and triple commits from Dustsucker, so they have got away with things ever so slightly, but I'm sure they'll not care with the lead and a minute left to go.
Zamberg looking for another one, and let me remind you, currently there's also an B stream going on showing Arctic Frenzy against Navi Brigade. Currently 2-0 favor of Arctic Frenzy, still looking strong to continue their sweeping path, but right now we're looking at these two teams trying to get their spot in the grand final, and Creamy clawing Paradise back into this game.
The first 2-2 of the series, Dansku has to respect EdgeB's attempt, and Creamy right there, nothing, no one to help him out on the follow-up play. Dustsucker left wanting, but we see it again. Paradise have scored both their goals from follow-ups. They've had the next player come in to finish it off from an initial chance, and it's worked decently enough. They haven't left too many open spaces to give Dustsucker a big lead. And the first 2-2 of the series means we could be looking at the first OT as well, but late goals seem to be a staple of Master last night. Will it be for Premier tonight?
It very well could be. We have seen late goals for these both teams as well in game 1 and 2. And just a bit of a different situation where they didn't really need it at that moment in time, but they could really use one right now. Rexo dropping it down, but Tempo blocking it off. Ooh. Ball still in a dangerous situation, and Dustsucker still not able to really get it away. Finally a good touch, but Creamy hitting it high, has control. What can you do with the flip reset? Takes it straight on down, and hits the post. Rexo once again tries his best, but it's dropped on down, and we have ourselves an overtime vector.
I mean, I was clenching there, Spook, so I can't imagine how Dustsucker must have felt. I was just thinking at that moment, they look like they're really low on boost. Creamy's got a free lane to shoot, and he opts to go for the 50. Woodwork denies once more. Those uprights are looking battered and bruised right now on the Dustsucker side, but they've managed to hang on for the first OT of this series. I desperately hope it's not the last, but Dansku could end it right here with a weak shot. EdgeB in position to clear it out. Rexo to follow up as well. He's got the aerial control, the flip reset over one, but Dansku leaves it for Tempo to the back wall. A great touch out, but Creamy's right there. Boosts to work with as well, looking for his teammate in Rexo in that midfield edge. But to keep up the pressure, another one back. Dansku's the only one there. He can only pop it to the corner, whose boost was stolen. Zamberg is up to keep it away from Creamy. They survive another onslaught. Whether or not they can get it out of their own half is an entirely other question.
AGB can't get it past Dansku, and this means that the pressure from Paradise keeps on building, keeps on going. Zamberg eventually getting that player, getting some breathing air for Dustsucker, as the Paradise had to be careful right there. But Creamy now straight on down. We've seen him be quite dangerous when he's given that freedom. Now Rexo takes it low with the 50, but no one there to help him out. He's alone there. There needs to be someone there to help him out there, because you can't do it all by yourself.
Yeah, I mean, they've been lucky, to be honest, with some of the whiffs that Dustsucker have had. They seem to be rushing things, whether or not the pressure of the golden goal situation is getting to them, knowing that they will be against match point should Paradise take this OT. It affects everybody differently. And uncharacteristic misses is Paradise not expecting it. You can clearly see it sometimes with the ball. It's just a dead ball situation for like 2-3 seconds, because neither side is expecting anyone to miss at this level. But this is going to be a miss from the defense as Tempo sends it through to pick up his brace. 3-2 for Dustsucker, and match point to boot. Great play by Dansku off the wall. Too quick for Rexo to react. And that's match point for Ox Gaming here in the upper final. And the way that it happened, Spooks, was there anything there that Paradise could have done differently to prevent conceding in that fashion?
I'm going to be blunt, that with the last ball is probably quite handy.
Well, that's the obvious route, yeah.
Yeah.
Strategically,
no, I mean,
tactically.
It is a caster curse, of course, when you say, oh yeah, but they haven't whiffed and then proceed
I said
to
the
have
word
no
miss,
whiff like
yes.
that. Yeah, it just is perfect. It is the perfect moment, but no, Dustsucker, it really feels like they have their game plan in their heads and they're trying to do it as much as possible. And it's quite simple. Beat in the defense and wait for the mistakes. Wait for the moments where you can break free and punish Paradise. And it has been looking great for them. On the other end, Paradise, you should be realizing this by now. You should probably be playing a bit of a more passive third man. Let them sit back a tiny bit more so you can have a bit more freedom for first and second men who are clearly capable to get past the defense.
Yeah, it seemed like that 2-2 equalizer really threw a wrench in the works for Dustsucker's plans, and they weren't expecting to concede that goal, and they had to switch things up a little bit, play for the OT, and then play for the just the clutch factor, you could say. But I completely agree on Paradise's front. They were left to rue mistakes in rotation to allow Dustsucker to get 2 goals in the first place. Could have ended it without an OT, but they'll definitely look to lick their wounds here in Game 4. And try and get back to that match point situation for themselves. Of course, they will be still alive should they fall. Going down into that lower bracket, that is the privilege, the gift of being in the upper bracket, getting that second life, a second chance. And whichever side will have to use it here, I'm sure will be maybe bruised ego, a little bit mentality damage, but I'm sure at this level the players should be used to it and ready to react. But I think Dustsucker really got the momentum right now.
React, adapt, change some stuff up. That is what these players are good at. That's why they are at the top of the bubble scene. That's why you've seen their names before. That's why you know them. It is easy to say. They know and they have the mentality to just keep on pushing. But right now for Paradise, do they have the mentality and the know-how to switch things up, to change against this very strong Dustsucker side, who is just looking on fire right now, as Rexo with the control, looking for a 50, gets it past one, but boom, there's Tempo, blocking you off, and now Creamy. A good speedy play, back pass into the middle, but is this gonna be another one? No, this one is saved.
Just noticed another play there, I think it was Rexo trying to pass to the midfield. And it seemed almost like on instinct, like he was assuming his teammate was going to be there, and he only found Zamberg. So either Paradise not placing their passes correctly or timing them well enough, or Dustsucker is reading them and intercepting them almost all the time. It's like they know that Paradise are trying to do that, and whether or not that predictability continues to be on show is, I think, what will make the difference here between Paradise getting to Champions Field or going down into the depths of the lower bracket. But it's still continuing to be such a tight battle, but this time not a single goal on the field. Clearly both sides have turned a little bit more defensive. They're not risking things. Paradise is sending that third man back instead of straight into the midfield, and they're getting a little bit more time on the ball as a result, but not after that demo.
AGB looking for the pass into the middle once again, but Zamberg easily read, and I have noticed Paradise is a bit more relaxed, a bit more patient. Maybe could capitalize on the double commit right here. Creamy doesn't have to flip anymore, but gets it past one. Sadly enough for him, not on target though, but Rexo keeping the pressure going, trying to get that ball stuck in the red half as AGB sticks close to it, drops it straight on down. Tempo is quick, the 50s, and that is a thing that just shows you these two teams are so level with each other that almost every ball just turns into a 50.
Yeah, it's just a dead ball situation. A lot of the time they just connect, and it's a stalemate because they're so used to each other, as you mentioned, elucidated on the beginning of the series, that they're so familiar with one another. Of course, I said at the start, it's an all Scandinavian affair with the 3 Danes on the side of Paradise, Zamberg the Swede, and Dansku the Finn. So they know each other from their own individual scenes. But of course, here in the RSC, they're getting to know each other very, very well. As Dansku with a great shot here through the midfield, but again, that rotation broken up. I don't know if Rexo would have got back to that in time, but Zamberg made sure of it. Bumping in the in the chat, of course. They like to dig at each other, get under each other's skin, just for that little extra psychological advantage. And with 2 minutes left to go, does Sucker retake that lead and continue to look like the dominant side here?
A bit of the Mr. President get down moment right there with how Zamberg made sure that the ball was going safely into the net. It's a good side though for Dustsucker with a little bit over a minute left. You would say that they have enough time and enough know-how right now to just walk this game home. They know what to do. They have been patient. They've been relaxed. They have been looking out for each other. But
Great
you
pass.
have to be careful because it can change so quickly.
I was just thinking about it, just ran through my head as soon as you were talking. Oh, Dustsucker have got the capability, they know how to hold on to a lead. Wait a second, is this a counter-attack? It was very slow and it fell back to Creamy, not Creamy, it fell back to Edgeby. And he just saw Creamy in the corner of his eye come flying in, all three Dustsucker players on the midfield line, desperately trying to cut out the counter-attack. Ends up being an open net to shoot at, and this one will be as well. Top right bins, Creamy to find his brace, and just as quickly as we were talking about it, Spooks, fortune has flipped. Paradise 2-1 up.
Well, it's looking likely now that we're going to that game 5 we spoke about. And, I mean, what a surprise. Let's be honest here. What a surprise.
Big
Oh,
surprise.
no. Insert shocked Pikachu face, because, yeah, no, of course these two teams are going to game 5. Of course they are. The current two favorites to win it all, and, I mean, they're showing why they're so equal. Rexo now hitting it high, looking for a setup for himself. Can he go one more? Goes to the past
No
one.
way.
Shot straight down to AGB, but tempo. Lying in wait. Right position, right timing. But can they do it again? Because you need to hold on to this lead if you are Paradise.
Do indeed, keeping their chances alive of taking it in 4. Dustsucker need at least one more to take us to the second OT of the series. Tempo and Zambo double commit. Managed to come out with the ball, but it's Creamy to follow up. Zero Boost can only strike it straight at Dansku. Back through this red corner. They have to get it past Edgeby. They're not going to do it. Another touch, but 50's out. This is fortunate for Dustsucker. A misplaced touch by Creamy will allow a free shot for Tempo. He puts it off his own post. Great save by Rexo. Still pressure on. Zamberg, last chance. Not going to be enough. 0 seconds hits. Dansku does keep it alive with boost, but he misplaces the touch and it allows a free kill for Paradise in their own corner. And they go to the grand finish of this first series. In the upper final between these two teams, Paradise and Dustsucker, go to game 5. I was thinking in my head, Champions Field. I could just see it on the horizon. My mind's eye was stretching out to it, clawing for it, desperately hoping to see it. And Paradise have managed to give me my dream, Spooks. And I can't wait to see whether or not it's going to be a nightmare for Dustsucker or for themselves in this final game.
You were dreaming of the Game 5 Champions Field. I'm just dreaming about how Rexo kept that ball out. This is now the second time Paradise have hit the ball onto their own post to get it out of the net. They are so incredibly scary, and I don't know why it has worked. Just one day it will go wrong, and I would love it for that to be in the finals, quite honestly.
I mean, it's hard to say whether or not it was calculated. He probably wanted to secure it just a little bit more, put it through the corner. But it came out in a fortunate bounce, shall we say. It threw off the Dustsucker offense. They couldn't regain to figure out where that ball was bouncing out and get in position for it. It came so damn close as well to being that equalizer, and an OT would have been fantastic. But what's even more fantastic is Game 5, Champions Field. This may be a precursor. This may be what we see in the grand final, Spooks. If either of these teams manage to get back up into the grand final through the lower bracket, and then we shall see a great rematch between the two, clearly, as it's gone the distance this time. But in a best-of-7, things change. Things get very interesting. The stakes get higher. The expectations get higher. And whichever of these two teams is forced into that situation, I think, has got a really good chance of doing it. But still, 5 minutes to decide who goes into that upper bracket placement for the grand final. And at this point, I can't claim that I know who it's going to be.
No one will know. But the players themselves, all of them, will have faith in themselves, as this demo gives space to an easy shot by Creamy. It is all set up by AGB, and Rexo making sure no one can get to it.
And at that moment in time, you'd think, okay, all three players are in a quite condensed point of the field for Paradise. You think, okay, they're not going to get much of a chance here. But Cream with a great shot, great demo by Rexo, and it's something that I think is ramped up in the last game, and this game especially now, clearly, is that physicality, the demoing. Initially I put it down to there's not much disruption, simply because both sides are so adept at avoiding it, and they were expecting it, maybe, but now it's really coming to the fore. Another big chance for Paradise. Dustsucker even went begging as another one from Creamy launched straight to that top left, speared it through. Still not enough. Rexo with a fake on 2. Dustsucker looking a little bit shambolic right now with these double commits.
A bit shaky, a bit scary, quite honestly. If you are a Dustsucker fan, you may be shaking in your booth, so someone please go check up on Vecta himself. As I, as a well-known Paradise enjoyer, chat, I'm enjoying myself right now. I think I'm quite happy at this moment. Definitely. But Rexo,
I'm sure they will be too. Yeah.
AGB can't get to it, but Creamy is in goal. Has to be careful. Tempo not getting it past him either. And that means that Rexo with the pinch creates some freedom, creates some space for Paradise, who can hit it back to Creamy once again. Good passing play. The shot is there. Dansku with the save. But once again, the passing plays. It really is feeling like Paradise is starting to get comfortable again, and that is not what you want as the sucker.
Oh, not at all. I mean, it's their modus operandi, Paradise, these passing plays, trusting each other, being in the right place at the right time. For the most part, throughout this series, Dustsucker have been able to counter that. They've been in the right place to intercept, to be ready, but they're being starved out. They're being demoed now. Paradise really in their element as a big couple of whiffs come through, but it ends up working in their favor. That confusion, that chaos zone has allowed a counterattack for Paradise, but Creamy, again, opting initially for that pass, sort of a half-shot, half-pass, dealt with diligently by the Dustsucker defense. Another opportunity to break out. Rexo is in position to disrupt and ends up catching this ball, but not much boost to do anything more. Decent 50 to catch it out. Edgeby with plenty of time. The disruption coming through as well. Squishy save denied, but Edgeby can only get it to the backboard. Zambo with just enough boost maybe to deny Rexo, trying to kill time, allow his teammates to get back in position, find themselves, but pressure's continuing to mount from Paradise. Another one to the backboard. Tempo just about able to pancake it across. Another double commit. Allows a free shot across. Woodwork denies Paradise once more. Dustsucker getting away with it, but they can't even get out of their own half.
AGB trying to keep this ball stuck. Like you said, they can't get out, but the second goal hasn't appeared just yet for Paradise. It is still awaiting. AGB looking for it right now. Tempo with the hit to the side. It is Creamy onto the backboard. Dansku is there, but Rexo quick enough to it once again. Pass into the middle, gets hit away by Dansku once again. Tempo now. What can you do by yourself? Well, not too much. Just Samberg hits it into the air. Creamy once again. I am waiting for one of these goals to go in, and this may be what you're looking for. AGB in front of the net. Rexo saw the stars align and hit it home.
I could just see the sweat forming on Zamberg's face there as he's like, oh no, I'm on the wrong side of the ball. Where am I going to put this? He has no choice there. He's a passenger. He is just observing that situation as Paradise find the first 2-goal lead that I think actually matters in this series. The other two, Game 1 and Game 2, they were just formalities at that point as Dustsucker and Tempo attempt to get at least one back. Zamberg is cut out by 2 players. Danska with plenty of time to do whatever the hell he wants with this one. Gets a 50 through 2, but Creamy is in just the right position to keep it out. Tempo with a lack of boost can only get it across to Zamberg. A decent touch, but it's going to be easy enough for Rexo to deal with. Plenty of boost to his own name. Maybe looking for the reset, only to get the 50 from Dansku. The only thing they need to do now is delay time as long as possible, but Edgeby wants more, so does Creamy. Dansku to cut it out as Rexo is there for the follow-up. This could be the chance to break out, but Edgeby gets the mid-boost, gets the flick over. It's such an awful, precarious position for Dustsucker right now. 20 seconds to find 2, and they can't even find any boost.
Creamy has to finish it off, has to keep this ball stuck, and with 10 seconds left, it's looking less and less likely.
No.
And Dansku, so unlucky, but the third does go in for Paradise, and this means that this is confirmation. Paradise will be going to the grand final, but you want to hear a funny little thing, Vecta?
Something funny? Yeah, it's definitely.
Over on the B stream.
I need to laugh or I'll cry.
Over on the B stream, they are going to a game 5 themselves.
Wow.
Arctic Frenzy against Nami Brigade. And you want to know it's even better than that. You want to know the worst part? They are looking at a reverse sweep from the Nami Brigade. That is over on the B stream though. Over on this stream, over on the A stream,